Hello everyone and welcome back to the Chibi Cornet YouTube channel. So last week I didn't upload a video and I'm super apologetic about that. I'm so sorry. I was working on this painting and I kind of bit off more than I could chew, but luckily I was able to successfully finish it and here we are. So you can have me on in the background. I'm just going to be loosely going over the way that I use cheap acrylics, and hopefully these tips can help you in some type of way. By no means is this like the only way to use acrylics, but this is the method that I'm using right now. So the paints that I'm using, they're called Craft Smarts. They're super cheap, super affordable. You can find them in Michael's or your local Walmart in like a 20 pack or a 10 pack, etc., etc. My method of going to use these paints is to literally block in the colors. And if you happen to be watching, you probably saw that I painted in the blacks first, the darkest values. And the reason why I do this is so that I don't whitewash the painting super early from the start. I know it's super tempting to go with like a more neutral tone color. So this is a rock formation that I'm painting right now. And most people would be tempted to use like a light gray and then work towards a darker value or a lighter value. Either way, but if I find that personally, if I did that, then the painting would probably come out way too pale, and I didn't want to do that. And also, if the painting itself, the color is too pale from the start and then I add that super dark black, then there would just be too strong of a contrast. And I wanted to make sure that the olives, which is the centerpiece of this painting, pops out. So that was super important for me, and that's probably my number one tip for you, of just block in dark colors. I know that for different mediums, there are different tips. So this is like, do this for acrylics for sure. I think oil painters do the same thing too, where they block in their darkest values first too. But of course, this isn't the holy grail of tips. Do what works best for you. This is just what works best for me. So I know that this painting isn't the most realistic painting out there with acrylics, and I'm not going for a super realistic look. I just wanted something quite simple and yet at the same time detailed in its own way. So with these acrylics, I'm pretty sure you could tell, but they're a little watery, and I don't mean that in a good way. There are watery acrylics, but these ones, they're watery and thin at the same time. So that's why just building up the paint in the first stroke was kind of essential for me, because oh gosh, there's just been so many times where I would use a light wash of acrylics, but then later on towards the final point, the final layer of the acrylic paint would end up cracking and stuff like that. Like, that's happened to me a couple times. So I figured if I just go in, be bold right from the start, then I wouldn't have to layer as much on top. And so I think that's the second tip I have for y'all, which is just be confident in the color that you choose. And luckily, acrylics for the most part, they're super forgiving, so you can always paint on top of that. I just think that with cheap acrylics, using thin, watery layers, you're kind of playing a risky game, in my opinion. It's just the experience that I have had. And then the third and final tip is probably just, it's going to take time and patience. Especially depending on what sort of acrylics you're using. So just be patient with it, trust the process. I know it's tempting to just give up because things aren't looking like super perfect from the get-go, but it'll all come together eventually. So just keep on pushing and save your highlights for last, because honey, I know it's tempting to just go in with that white, but trust me, it all comes through in the end. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys real soon. Bye.